Good afternoon, everybody. I am one of the co-founders of Revolutionary Tracker, and I know that I'm not, there I go, I'm not in, give me a second here. You think you saw technological problems before, just wait. I'm famous for them. There we go. Thank you. As I said, I'm one of the co-founders of Revolutionary Tracker. We are an endeavor to ambitiously build what we believe to be the next invaluable family tool in order to keep families aware of each other, really connected, and really kind of in control and aware of everybody. And the way that we wanted to do that, I mean, we saw what was available in the market with typical people tracking capabilities, GPS trackers. You might have seen them, cute little teddy bear kinds of things that people would stick in their kid's backpack or in their pockets. But we felt that that was maybe a good first step, and we liked the technology, but nobody had ever really taken it to where it needed to be. So we really wanted to deliver and build a much more powerful, much more compelling, a much more usable kind of tool. And in order to do that, we really needed to integrate two major kinds of technologies. Now, the wearable technology component of this ecosystem that we built is a watch, just like the one you see here. And I know you're not going to be able to see it too well. It'll display different clock faces that would be appropriate and appealing to the different markets that we deal with. But more important, that it would be really addressable to a much larger group of people that would get real significant value out of it. And even if it never did anything beyond just tell time, that they would still be encouraged and, to wear it and enjoy wearing it. It wouldn't have to be hit over the head to don't leave home without it. So we've developed really a full line of these fully independent, GPS-enabled smartphones that, unlike my esteemed colleagues this morning that had the Bluetooth connected phones that you're all aware about, whether it's Samsung or Sony, these are standalone devices. They have their own SIM cards. They make calls. They respond to calls. They will answer calls. The calls are whitelisted, meaning that the devices will only answer or be able to receive calls from people that the adult user or account owner puts in there, so we can actually protect kids 5 to 10 that are really our primary demographic, with making sure that they can call people that are authorized and that they don't get unwarranted calls or even threatening calls, whether they be telemarketers or even predators. And we knew that we would have to develop this technology, and we wanted to use GPS and not a Bluetooth connected device because, A, these groups of our target demographics probably would not be owning cell phones, nor would it be appropriate that they have those cell phones. I would not want to give a 5 or a 7 or an 8-year-old access to the internet and an open gateway to speaking to anybody, but at the same time, the ability to have them communicate and connect with family members or authorized appropriate people is really what we were after. And we saw the same need also with much of the senior market that were either overwhelmed or just turned off by the overwhelmingly rich functionality of a lot of the smartphones that just rendered them either ineffective or just unwanted. So we developed a full line of these devices to be worn by children and by seniors. That would, our next iteration will have a touch screen, but that will be totally secure. That means if they're ever removed, you can get notification that they are removed. We don't believe in bolting them on or locking them on with a hex key, but we do believe in using this. And they're actually very sophisticated devices, even though they look very appealing and fun to wear. And we really wanted to get rid of any of the stigma of these overly large, bulky kinds of devices. We didn't want anybody to feel like they had just gotten out of a parole office. It should be fun and engaging, and kids should find it fashionable. And the seniors that wear it should also feel that it fits nicely in tune with their aesthetic profile. And certainly with all the activity on the the Bluetooth tethered smartphones from the Samsungs and the large marketing budgets that they've been adequately displaying in major publications across the country. That aesthetic is being proved out and accepted, and we feel that it's going to help kids emulate that, as well as senior citizens feel like, my grandson's wearing this, this is cool, I can do this. With any full product line, we also have a very distinct roadmap for much more high fashion, much more high function, curved glass kind of capabilities. But really what we're offering here is a very usable, a very easy to wear, fun to wear, very lightweight. I invite you to come by the booth and actually pick it up for yourself. Limited functionality, actual standalone cell phone. Now, the devices just kind of tell part of the story, because even though there'd be a rich open platform that allows for an incredible amount of flexibility, the other part of it, and very much like the Plantronics gentleman mentioned, we really see ourselves as having two kinds of users. We have the end user, which might be the child or might be the senior citizen, and we also have the adult that wants to use this device to actually be able to get that rich informational understanding of location and information. This is a map which you're probably very familiar with. This kind of depicts the state of the art of much of what people tracking is, where it just kind of puts pin dots on a map, and of course it's interactive and you can drill down to street level on it. But beyond that, and maybe giving you a reverse address lookup, that's basically all that it gives you. And what we developed, again, if you remember Philippe's talk this morning about a dashboard, was a very rich dashboard to give you a full understanding of not just where they were, not just put a pin dot on a map, although you'll see that in one of the 3 frames we actually have a fully interactive Google map that you can drill down, that'll show safe zones and geofences that we set up, but that there's also another 2 panes that actually put context around the location. So a reverse address lookup, but also I have battery power. I have an indicator whether that individual is stopped or moving. I know how much distance he's traveled today. I know what direction he's going, what speed he's going. Everything on this is queryable, so if I wanted to set parameters and say anybody that traveled over 65 miles per hour, I want to be notified, I can do that. I can toggle back and forth. You'll see 2 buttons that allow me to switch from a live view to a breadcrumb report of the past 3 hours or the past 3 days. And then on the right side of this, the right pane, I've got what we call zone management, but it's really a relational display of the location, but what it means in relationship to relevant points, midways, or landmarks in that individual's life. So the fact that it shows that he's at 125 Main Street may not have any great meaning to me, but if that happens to be his best friend's Billy's house, all of a sudden it does. And if I can interpolate that data and put a label on it, I'm really giving the adult, the parent, a far richer understanding of not only where their kid is, but where their kid is in relationship to where they should be. We also have built-in tools, because we see this more than just a display of information from location, but we also have built-in tools that allow us to interact with and actually respond to any kind of situation. If you look at those 2 blue buttons, those are actually built-in mechanisms that allow me to either call the watch directly, or on the link button, that allows me to open up a whole social database of friends, families, and neighbors that I can access and actually create a conference call, a broadcast email, or a broadcast text. So what we've hoped to create here, and I'm showing this to you in a multiple scenario, because dashboards are designed to give you that instantaneous understanding of so many different data points. And when you're looking at a typical family, or if you're thinking about a commercial setting, you can imagine that looking at more than one instance would be very important. And we think that that really lends itself here. So what we have, we think, is really People Tracking 2.0, we think we have the invaluable family tool that will allow us to know so much more about not only where our kids are, but how they are, and give us a far richer and much more compelling understanding of how they're doing, as well as the tools that allow us to interact and respond. I had this great, we have a demo, a software demo, if you actually want to see it in action. I don't have the time to show it to you now, but we invite you to come back to our booth, and you'll see it for itself. Yeah, hurry up. I only go. I'm sorry. Price point. Devices will be sold for $199. The voice and data plan, because as I said, these are standalone phones, will come in somewhere between $20 and $25 a month.